Hello everybody and welcome to week 16 of the 2016 NFL season. I'm your host, the Team Avatar 112, or you can call me Cody. Either or works. Sorry if I'm a little hard to understand. I am a bit under the weather today, but let's not let that get us distracted from an exciting week of football. Let's get down to it, shall we? Starting off with last week, we can go over some of the things that happened. I went 10-6. Now, based on that, some of those games, more or less, were decisions that I could have stuck with and I would have done better. Mainly taking upset victories from crap teams like the Jets or the Rams. You gotta believe sometimes. You gotta believe. And then, as you can saw my last video with the Chiefs-Titans game, I originally had written down Titans over Chiefs, but if you could tell throughout that video, I even started a little bit because I was surprised by myself that I wrote that down. And ultimately, after going through some editing, I decided that I wanted to change the pick instead of re-recording the video because I was running behind. I decided that I'm just going to write over it and hope for the best. Turns out I was wrong, so should have stuck with my gun on that. But, oh well, you win some, you lose some. So 10-6 so far on week 15, and 135, 87, and 2 on the season, with 2 more weeks remaining. I'm going to try to keep that loss mark under 100. That's the goal here. So let's dive into it, shall we? We're going to start off with the most interesting game, and let's be real here. Let's be real. Tell me one good reason why this should not be the most interesting game of the week. Ravens-Steelers. The prized rivalry of the NFL. The bloodbath, the natural hatred. This is just the best. And originally, I did some research on the rivalry. Since 2010, between these two, if you include the playoffs, the Ravens have been on top of the Steelers 10-5 since 2010. But in recenter years, Pittsburgh has meant more than had the rivalry. But also for those who are doing over and unders, I did some research on this as well. Since 2010, if you exclude the playoffs, these two teams have only combined for over 43 points. Once, I believe. Once or twice, I can't remember. So, and I think the number right now, last I checked, was 44, so for all those who are gamblers, I'd take the under. Take it. There's a guy who's experienced with this, and I've been starting this since 2004. It's only happened 3 times. Excluding playoffs. So, these games are low scoring. Take the under. And because I'm a stubborn Ravens fan, I'm rooting for Ravens to win this one. We need this win. And who doesn't love this rivalry? Who doesn't? Anyone who loves football loves this rivalry. Alright, we went on to the most close-scoring game. The more and more, I'll be honest with you guys, the more and more I do these series, the more and more I'm probably going to get rid of this for next year, if I do next year. Because, you know, most close-scoring, yeah. It's an okay. I don't know. You tell me in the comment section what you think about it. Or any of all of this in general. But, and a good tight game, sensing a potential comeback and whatnot. 2 teams that don't let games get out of hand. Detroit at Dallas. Now, Detroit's difficulties against the Giants was more of them faltering on some offensive plays. Between the fumbles, incompletions, and more or less some missed calls, perhaps. I don't know. I didn't watch the game, so I don't know exactly what happened. I just watched the highlights. But this game, Dallas, typically not known for high scoring. Yes, they put up 26 against the Bucs, but it took a couple missed field goals to get there. And I'm going to point this out now because I'm also a stubborn Ravens fan, as you all know. With Dan Bailey missing those field goals that he did miss in Sunday night's game, Justin Tucker moved up ahead of him for highest completion in field goals in NFL history. So now, technically, Justin Tucker is the most accurate kicker in NFL history. So take that. I rest my case. Anywho, I wouldn't be surprised if either team won this game, honestly. It's hard to say Dallas is the best, but then again, if you really look at their schedule, they've played 2 or 3 good teams. That's about it. And they've lost to the Giants twice. So, who was it? I think it was like the late 90s Jags team. They went 14-2, but both their losses came to Tennessee. And then they met Tennessee in the playoffs, and Tennessee won that game as well. I think that's what it was. So, you can go undefeated against everyone except one team. But if they hit the playoffs, then yeah. So, Dallas be warned, because New York is more than likely going to make the playoffs. I want to be... They're pretty much locked. So, Dallas be warned, and be ready, because it's going to be a good one. And, of course, the biggest blowout. Tell me I'm not wrong here. Jets at Pats. Pats, yes, the Jets play them really well, but the Jets are in a flip-flop of a season between all the quarterbacks and injuries, and Darrelle Revis, older than old, making Steve Smith and Anquan Bolden look like they're relatively young. But nonetheless, Brady's on a roll, they're at home, hard to go against him. But I could be wrong, so we shall see what happens. Alrighty, here are the Week 16 picks. Giants over Eagles, Bills over... I'm rooting for the Dolphins to lose. I'm sorry. It's not... I mean, the Bills can legitimately win this game. Like, the Jets could have legitimately won that game. They had it in control. And just a couple bad decisions later, boom. Bills have this game in control. And unlike last time they played, they don't have any injuries. They have everyone there. And Tyrod needs to step up his game. I believe he's a decent quarterback. Mainly because he's also an ex-Ravens quarterback. But, again, stubborn Ravens fan. Bills should get this win. Falcons, I wouldn't be surprised if the Panthers won this game. They won it at home last time. Redskins, Chargers, Packers and Vikings, that's a toss-up. But if Minnesota can't get their act together, then... Titans, Pats, Raiders, Bucks. It's at New Orleans this time, so Saints could pull out that win. Rams over Niners, no one cares. Seattle over Cardinals. Bless me. The Cardinals, I feel like they could win this game, and I can argue they should have won the game when they played. That ended up resulting in a tie. But nonetheless, I just don't trust them right now. I mean, I expect David Johnson to get 100 yards of scrimmage, but that's just me. But yeah, I can't trust it. Texans, I took the Texans. I was thinking about putting the Bengals, but the Bengals are kind of a mess right now, and maybe Tom Savage can hook up with DeAndre Hopkins. I think, remember last time, T.J. Yates beat the Bengals in a low-scoring affair. What was it, 10-6, I think? So if he can do that, who says Tom Savage can't do that? I don't know. Ravens over Steelers. I legitimately believe they can win this game. Chiefs over Broncos. Broncos are falling off the cliff, and I gotta take the Cowboys right now. So there is that. Super Bowl 50, again, it's the same. It hasn't really changed at all. So there's that. Also, to keep you up in our fantasy league, I beat Jared to advance to the championship. Nathan beat Sean to advance to the championship. So it is myself versus Nathan in our championship game. Jared will play Sean for 3rd place. James and Micah won their games respectively, so they're going to battle for 5th. And Chris and Keith will battle it to see who doesn't get last place. Or, if you want to use the league terms, the Sacco. More or less. And with that, practically call it a Ravens-Saints Super Bowl. Nathan's a Saints fan, for those who don't know. So there's that. I'm also going to introduce another topic, because, we're around that corner. The playoffs, okay, we're on the door for the playoffs. And for those who don't know, here are the teams right now. The AFC, the Pats are in 1st, Oakland 2nd, Pittsburgh 3rd, Houston 4th. How Houston's in the playoffs is anyone's guess. KC 5th, Miami 6th, and then Baltimore, Tennessee are right behind there slowly. Over the NFC, we have Dallas, Seattle, Atlanta, Detroit. Those last three, Seattle, Atlanta, Detroit. All three of them fighting for the number 2 seed. It could go any way. Giants have pretty much a good lock on the 5th seed. And Green Bay mathematically has the 6th seed right now. But all can change. So now I want to plug in my predictions that I predicted for this week. And I'll show you what would happen if I am right. If I go 16-0 in my predictions, here's what they would look like. Pats will still remain in 1st. Oakland would be 2nd still. Baltimore would jump Pittsburgh for the lead in the division because of the tiebreakers. Houston will still be 4th. KC 5th. And Pittsburgh would be 6th due to tiebreakers and whatnot. I don't know the math equation exactly, so whatever. Dallas still at 1st, Seattle still at 2nd, with Atlanta right behind them at 3rd. Green Bay were to jump ahead of Detroit because of tiebreakers, because Green Bay beat Detroit. Giants still 5th, and Tampa Bay will go back up to 6th. Detroit looking on the outside, looking for miracles, and Washington still behind. So this is if I'm right with my predictions. It's a very exciting week going on. Christmas is going to be fun. And I hope you all enjoy your football, and thank you all for watching. Happy holidays to you, and I will see you in week 17 for the final week of the regular season.